If you lose a little, I'm gonna be surprised. That'd be no choice. All right, I'm going to start the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're going to begin the pre-show festivities now of our little get-together of the Celebration Residential Owners Association Board of Directors, our monthly public meeting. Just for clarity, just to make sure we're clear on things, first thing I like to mention is the fact that the Celebration Residential Owners Association, aka CROA, is a homeowners association. This is not a city council, county commission, or any kind of government entity whatsoever. We are not a government. We are the board, the elected board of an HOA, and our purview is over maintaining homeowner values and maintaining community assets. The ones owned by the homeowners. That's all. We have no control over the county, CDD, ECDD, CJC, CNOA, Lexington, school district, or any of those. We're limited. Now, this is also a meeting of the board. This is not a meeting of the homeowners. We have one of those every year. A meeting of the homeowners. A homeowner-run meeting we have every year in March. This is the meeting of the board. That means that the board makes decisions, but we want your input. That's why we have comments at the beginning. But in order to maintain the flow of the meeting, I would like to strictly enforce the rules that we've had in place for many years, and that is public comment at the beginning of the meeting. You have 3 minutes. It's not a conversation. It is so that we can hear the things that you want us to hear, whether we like them or not. We will listen, and that's what we will do. I would like to ask the board to listen and not respond, please, because that is per the rules of any community, any board. That's the way the public comment period works. It's not a question and answer or a speak and response situation. So with that said, do we have a, did we notice this properly?
You did.
Okay, we have a quorum. Count. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. And now I will call this meeting to order. And we are going to start with public comments. And first on our list is Claire LaBrunerie. Claire, would you come up and speak to us for 3 minutes?
I'm going to reorder it based on what you just said. My first point that I want to raise is I don't think, much like you would build new development on the shores of sand that's eroding away, you fill that first, you build it up. I think it's really important for the town to get what we have right first, maintain what the assets we've got properly first, even if it's hard, even if it means pushing other people who do that asset. Sidewalks, parks, playground, tennis courts, leased to outside parties who go for months on end not paying their bills. This is all a problem. And I feel like saying, well, we can't really affect that, so we're not going to do anything. I think that's more important than continuing to expand. With respect to the master plan, I realize that that's going to happen over the next few years. The roadmap may all be good, more buildings, more development. It's always going to be a matter of taste, and it can be disputed whether or not you think that's light pollution or building pollution around a nature area. But the bottom line is we've got a shocking number of buildings in this town that are completely empty, and in Orlando in general, in this area. So when we start thinking about needing space so desperately for new things for Celebration residents, let's look inward first and figure out how to push people, again, to bring in a big tenant, maybe to take over Stetson, to bring in a big tenant, to really advocate, to work with Lexington to do things. Let's try to be more productive, to use our blank spaces. Consider also building on the same footprint as opposed to building out. How about building a little bit up or improving what we've got? And I'm finally wanting to say, I don't think government, and I certainly don't think Grand River's comfort zone is spending money and procuring and managing contracts. Governments don't do it well, and Grand Manners hasn't done it particularly well, and there have been a lot of mistakes made. We've seen that firsthand. I think it's really important to train yourself to ski a black diamond slope before you go ski it. And that's not what's happening here. I worked for 30 years in investment banking, fund management, and if I'd made even one of the mistakes that I've seen over the past few years Grand Manners makes, I would have been fired. Last thing I wanted to say, and this is quickly, and it's ending on a positive note, I really appreciate some of the board members' really strong efforts at being transparent and open and breaking things down and making things simple, because that's really what we need. We don't need any more hidden keys, hidden messages, backroom deals. I really appreciate the transparency, and I think a lot of people do. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Next up, Paul Battaglini. Is that how it's
I'm expected to forfeit my 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. How about Rob Staten?
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Sandy, I can't read the last name. Gillespie. Oh, well, okay. Pardon me?
No, thank you. I've just.
Okay. Then thus endeth the public comment period. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I will second with a modification
Okay.
to letter G to the top as we have guests here.
E to the top. That is the pool resurfacing. Any objection to making that change?
No.
All those in favor of the agenda, changing the agenda as Jared suggested and adopting the rest? Aye. How about the approval of the minutes? Motion? Charles?
Second.
Jared, any comment? All those in favor? Aye. Financials? Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second? Any discussion?
Yeah, can we find out what numbers we have? We usually do. Every month I ask. Operating reserves and cap.
Sure.
Yeah. Jennifer here.
Sorry, Jennifer.
Hi, Cecilia. Hi, everyone. The fund balances right now is operating is at 1.8 million. Reserves is at 1.8 million as well. And capital is a little over 4 million.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Just
Welcome.
4 million is not including the expense for the playground yet. So
So that still has to come out of that. So it'd be about 3.5.
So this was the pine mulch already taken out.
It's operating.
Okay, and then the Bank of America has already hit, right? The lease that's out of operating. But last month we didn't see those in the financials yet, right? So this is the first one we'll start to see them. Okay.
Anybody else? All those in favor of approving the financials? Aye. Now, committee and partner updates. What do we have on committees, folks? Who wants to do what?
I'll do mine.
Yours. Sure.
Let's see. We had a special, okay. We had our special event meeting. Tonight we'll be discussing the spooky soiree that's coming up and the guest policy clarification. That was discussed in an extent at the meeting. They had their comedy night on September 12th down in Artisan. It was a great success. The home improvement was this Saturday, the expo down at Lakeside. Doing pianos on the 15th of October. The spooky soiree again is October 25th. And the tickets to the holiday concert went on sale today, correct, Lauren? I'm pretty sure they went on sale today. Saw it on Celebration Facebook. That is the Celts, December 19th. Then we had dog park committee. We had a very good good conversation about, the rules of the dog park and how we're gonna proceed. They discussed that dog parks, the large dogs will stay in the large dog park and the small dogs will stay in the small dog park. And what
That does seem logical.
does seem logical, doesn't it?
Don't forget 30 pounds.
What?
Don't forget, we're gonna stop it to 30 pounds from 35.
Yes, well, I didn't get there yet. 30 pounds. Over 30 pounds goes in the large, small is under 30 pounds. We are keeping it that way. No deviation from the rule. If you're breaking the rule, there's gonna be, could be that you get your, badge taken away. They discussed the pesticides. They discussed in detail with Brian from Exquisite in the large dog park, the big dirt area, about how hard it is to grow anything there. They discussed maybe different things, pea gravel, sand. Brian's gonna take care of that. What other committee?
Current covenants.
Covenants, I didn't go to either, I'm sorry.
You're in service area.
Service area, oh yeah,
You're on so many committees.
service area, they're doing their budget, they're coming along, painting is still going on in Roseville. Roseville, no, it's done, okay. Oh, I only ask, I wish you guys could really get a committee together. I know, you gotta get those, you have to bang on everybody's doors. Anyway, the service areas are moving along with their, budgets. We have a condo council meeting next week on Thursday. What other committees? Oh, Kathleen's here, the board liaison for the foundation, but she will be here to speak on behalf of the foundation. That's it for me.
All right. Any other committees?
I will take rec committee.
You reckon?
I will. I'm going to read from Victoria's email because I can't do it justice. The partner program approval trial period. The committee approved a 3-month trial period for the addition of Garrett Harder training, which offers one-on-one personal training focused on strength and conditioning for athletes. I think we're voting on that today. The trial will assess potential conflicts with existing group fitness partner programs and evaluate how it fits within current gym operations. Waiver fee requests and Montessori school inquiry. The committee continues to respond to waiver fee requests using the fee structure approved by the board in April, which includes a sliding scale based on resident, non-resident status and profit, nonprofit classification. Specific request from the Montessori school to use the new playground and large field, which they've done for many years, was discussed. As the playground is not rentable space, the committee will seek guidance from us in a workshop setting to address this request and others like it. I'm going to paraphrase a few of these because there's a lot of them. Guest pass policy recommendation. They're finalizing a recommendation to us for a new guest pass policy to vote in the next meeting. Tournaments at the field complex. CROA inquired about inviting tournaments to use the field complex as a revenue generating source. The committee expressed concerns about potential overuse, which could reduce availability and quality for residents. However, the committee acknowledged that sticking to the approved fee structure, including staff costs for all rentable spaces, could help reduce revenue for CROA. And then recreational contracts review. The committee is currently reviewing the scope of work for contracts. So a lot of things people don't see, but a lot of good stuff. And the committee continues to do just a fabulous job.
Can Gary talk on behalf of the covenant?
Do you have anything?
No, you good? Yeah.
Communications, I don't have my notes, but they're also, I mean, they're doing a bang up job. I know they sent over some recommendations for the covenant letters. Have we implemented those?
They will be implemented with the implementation of smart webs. They went to legal, they went to governance committee, and they've been approved.
Okay.
And then
So just for the knowledge of everyone here, they were charged with looking at the covenant letters, softening some of the language, cleaning up a few of the messaging, so they work in partnership with the governance committee and the communications committee to work on that.
Does that come to the board for final review?
Does it?
I mean, the committee doesn't have a final.
No, they don't.
It's not management.
it'll come to you guys.
So will that be on, when will that?
It'll probably, if I can, I'll put it on your workshop. If you
Okay.
guys are fine, I'll put it on your workshop so we can move it along.
Okay.
Because we're really close to the smart webs rollout.
Okay. Okay, so we got that and then a few other things, but yeah, not consequential. So that's it.
All right, then moving over to finance. A lot of expenses were booked this month, which resulted in negative, and just the continued awareness for both the board and revenue matters that we need to be diligent in our spending on the operating side through the end of the year. So let's just be very particular in what we are approving on that side, as we should on all expenses, but just that we will be running a shortage this year. So let's not make it any bigger than it needs to be. Reserve study came in, unfortunately, today. There was some conversation around it through email, but there was some concern regarding different items and when they were falling. So I don't know what our original agreement is with reserve advisors, but it may make sense to either have a workshop with a reserve advisor to go over it, or for the finance committee to invite the reserve advisors to have a walkthrough and discussion. So something to think about for October. And then the last is with the changing interest rate environment, finance committee right now has flexibility for 12-month rollovers on the U.S. Treasuries. Last night they had requested to have some more flexibility based on what part of the curve makes sense for interest rates. So something for our workshop in October that I'll add is expanding it from either 6 to 24 months that they can roll over the U.S. Treasuries that we are investing in. And that was a recommendation from them. Then moving over to technology, installation of key cards for the Gallagher software at all locations were completed. So next step is looking at the implementation of that into the ONR application. So you'll be able to open the doors with your phone. Review of the ONR application to determine which features should be in and what that rollout will look like either this year or into the beginning of next year will be discussed and is the next focus. And then just on a little bit of a somber note, there was some overall disappointment in seeing Jose leave and concern of active projects that are currently moving forward, that they don't stall and stop, that they still continue to move forward with completion. So something that obviously we're still looking to hire that director of IT, but hopefully we can get that position filled and then get the technology committee plugged in with them to continue moving on with the good work they're doing. And that's it.
All right.
A CJC update? CJC, the cost sharing, nothing from that?
I guess update is we have our meeting next week.
How did the cost sharing workshop go? It's a committee. Is there no update for cost sharing?
It's not like CJ.
Celebration.
Well, that was a joint meeting between CROA and Canella, not a
So we're not
secret.
getting an update.
Never had a CJC update and
So we're not getting a CJC update now.
there's no, I don't have an update.
You don't.
All right. Anybody else?
Hey, for Artisan, we're voting to ratify their budget tonight, and their board meeting is tomorrow, virtual.
Any other committee reports? How about CCDD? Anybody here? I didn't see you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's me. I haven't been to a meeting. That's right. I forgot. I haven't been to a meeting because I was on the road. No report.
I didn't do it.
How about foundation?
Kathleen.
I thought I saw Kathleen back there. Hi, Kathleen.
Don, hello
What's-
everyone, the calm before the storm. Yes.
Home before the little babies.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kathleen Scipio. I'm the Executive Director of the Celebration Foundation. I want to start my report with just thanking some community partners. In particular, I would like to thank Cassandra Starks from CCBD. Last week, she did her final community connections with Celia McFadden and I. For anyone that does not know what Community Connections is, this started in January 2023. It is for new and established residents. It's free. It's an hour-long presentation from all three entities to try and tell you who does what and where to go for what. Since we started quarterly in January 2023, we've had almost 300 residents attend. I will say our most recent one, Michelle Murray, was there, lasted the longest. The residents really wanted to stay afterwards and talk to each other. And it's a great way to get to know what's going on in our community. And we know that that's quite a lot. I want to thank Windsor of Celebration. Last week, the concert series of the foundation hosted a stewardship event at their Sky Bar. If you have never been, it is beautiful. There's something to be said about being high above the I-4 traffic and having a front row seat to the Disney fireworks. But I really want to thank Windsor for hosting us. We had a local harpist from Orlando who took us through the decades, which is our theme of the concert series. She started with holiday music because that's our first concert on December 4th. And she took us through Elvis, the Beatles, to Pearl Jam and Nirvana. So if you want her number, just reach out to me. She was fantastic. We have a lot going on, so grab your calendars if you'd like. We have porch parties Sunday, October 13th, and we are still looking for some porches in some villages. We have our Friends Thriving event, October 15th. This is a free event at 690 Celebration Avenue. You will not hear me speak. You will actually hear our program members speak, which is our senior population in Celebration and how they're positively impacted by the Thriving in Place program. Then we have concerts. Our first one is December 4th. It's our holiday one, and that is Octave. That's an a cappella group that was here in the past. They sang Disney and Broadway music then, and it was sold out at Community Presbyterian Church, so get your tickets early. And then we have the Holiday Home Tour weekends, and that is the first weekend every December. Tickets are $25, and we have all the houses on the tour, so please make sure to be a part of that. If you want to volunteer with the foundation, we would love you to join us at a water station for Ping Pong Parade, water station for Rotary Celebration Pancake Run, and we need some hunger heroes to give out weekend meal packs every Friday at Celebration K8 and Island Village. And I do want to thank the school district of Osceola County. They accept our deliveries of our pallets that we then disperse to the 24 schools that we support for Learning Without Hunger. And to put it in perspective, last year they had 2,902 registered families and transition students that were in need of weekend meal packs, and the foundation served 2,058 of those students. The school district is anticipating 4,000 registered families and transition students this school year, so the need has greatly increased. Could not do it without all the volunteers, board of directors, and the community. So thank you all.
Thank you very much.
John, there was one more thing. Commissioner Chaudhry was supposed to be here. She accepted the invite to come to tonight's meeting, but because of the hurricane, she's filling in as vice chair for hurricane prep. So hopefully she'll be at the next meeting to do a county update.
It's good. Let's see, that's it for the committee and partner updates. We have no consent agenda, so we're going to move on to the action items. First up, A, motion to approve irrigation repairs for Spring Lake Townhomes by Exquisite in the amount of,
Gotta do G first.
oh, we're doing G first. I forgot. You're absolutely right. Motion to approve pool resurfacing for Spring Park, Spring Lake, North Village, and Lakeside by Deja Blue, the amount of $231,742 out of reserves. I have a motion to approve it.
Should we discuss?
Motion to approve to discuss.
Second.
Second. All right, discussions.
Deja Blue and a representative from SPEES in the audience tonight to answer any questions regarding the two bids that are inside your packet.
So they're going to be fielding questions from us?
That is correct.
Lists.
My recommendation would be is if this committee has, or to gather any overall questions that they could pose to the vendor before we bring the vendors up. Keep those concise, so before we bring either of the representatives up.
All right, what do we have? Questions, anyone?
So
I have a question for management. Based on the proposals, you have a recommendation. I was wondering what stood out to you? Based
Your
that you
recommendation is
based on,
Deja Blue, right?
yeah, based on that recommendation.
Thank you for asking that question. Overall, we did receive, it is challenging to find a vendor that wanted to do a resurfacing project on 4 of our community pools. Specifically because this is resurfacing mainly of just one element of the pool interior. A lot of companies want to do the entire pool or rebuild, so they didn't, and the challenging working with an HOA can be a deterrent. We did have 3 vendors that were did complete on-site reviews, and 2 of the vendors were successful in providing us quotes. Both of these vendors are reputable. These that myself and other members in our management company have worked with before and seen success on different areas in their portfolio. Deja Blue, it would be newer to us. After a reference check, we did receive a very good reference check on Deja Blue. They're both very good. From a management perspective, I'd be happy to work with either of the vendors. The recommendation was listed out mainly as there was just it is a better price, but they are quite comparative in price. So that is something that could be reviewed, as well as they do more in-house work on that. Third party any out.
Are both numbers within what the reserve budget is for this year? Are we within budget of the?
Yes. So this project can pull out of 2 reserve lines. It can come out of our deck concrete line for the pools, as well as our plaster finishing replacement and tile repairs. Pulling only from the plaster finishing replacement and tile repairs, and then only 30,000 out of the larger amount from the deck concrete, which would be specific to the Spring Park pool. The reserve amount is $278,606, with more allowed if we need it out of the deck concrete line.
And based on the size of the contract, will this be under our standard contract that we've been using for large projects?
Yes.
Other questions? Got a motion in a second.
One other question would be, can we walk through a little bit of the warranty? Because it does look like that's where there is some differences between the 2. I don't know if they can speak to it, or if you reviewed it and want to speak to it.
Yeah, if we invited them here, I guess this is a little bit backwards for me because I'm accustomed to shortlisting and then we invite them over and get into more of a finalist setting, like questions and whatnot. But do we want to have them come up and give like a few minutes to talk through their proposals, or?
They did set time to come out today. I think that would be respectful.
So are we
Keep it to 5 or
5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? Yeah.
Max. Yeah.
Who wants to go?
Flip a coin. Who should we bring up first, Jake?
Deja Blue's first in the agenda.
Yeah, okay, Deja Blue.
So you want the other one to leave the room?
Yes, I'm up.
I don't. Yeah.
In blue.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the time. Board of Directors, thank you so much for your time. My name is Deja Blue. I am the owner of Deja Blue Custom Pools and Spas. We have been in existence since 2010. We are a commercial and residential builder, resurfacer, interior design, and deck rehab company. We have serviced several companies, not many homeowners associations, but plenty commercial accounts, 24-hour fitness. We have worked with the Community Association of New Smyrna, and we have worked with several boys and girls clubs in the area. Not much to interior finish, other than we will revisit. I had the opportunity to walk each of the locations and feel very comfortable that we will be able to ascertain the project needs in a replicable time manner. I have submitted a few questions that Jacob has been very diligent in answering for me, but at this point I am just an open book. Whatever questions that you guys would like to pose, I'd be more than happy to address.
Time frame.
Yeah.
Time frame. So I know we initially talked about October. My team and I will be wrapping up our last project in the next week or so, so we are definitely prepared to start anytime in October. Duration, we're looking at about 60 to 90 days. I feel pretty confident that we'll be able to get it done well within 70, consider weather. But again, I ask that as long as the pools are accessible, if we can close the major one, let me just refer to my notes. I know the spring late is around there. If we can do the major one and then probably
And Lakeside are the two main.
Spring Park and Lakeside. So yes, we would, the goal with my team and I is to work both of them simultaneously. At the halfway point of the first one, we'll go ahead and start the second one so that we can keep the project moving pretty expeditiously, which is why I say I think we can get it done within the 70-day time frame. Whatever it is.
So 90-day for the project, what's the
Total completion.
so per pool? I know they're all different sizes, but what's the average closure of a?
Closure, interior finish. I know that some have some unique nuances to include. There's a kiddie pool, there's some deck work, there's some additional offerings that I included as well. So for the first one, I think the largest, the longest, I would say about 45 days. And then midpoint, my team and I, once we finish the first one, maybe about the third week, we'll go ahead and move to the second one while we're finishing the first one. So again, the goal is to have them all in sequence, but if we can do 2 at a time, I think that'll help move the process along a lot more expeditiously. Yes, sir.
Who oversees? Is there a project manager?
Yes.
Within, so who is that? You or is that?
Yes, no, his name is Imre Juza. He's actually been doing this for 20 years. Unfortunately, he flew out to Hungary today, so he wasn't able to be present. Jacob did have the opportunity to meet him himself. So my team of about 18.
And all in-house, 18?
Yes.
Is that subcontract?
All in, absolutely, yes. So that would be my project manager as well as my overseer. So between him and myself, we would work with our site developers, site managers, and our team leads to make sure the project goes off without a hitch.
So that would be interacting with management. What's kind of the typical cadence of communications and updates, and how does that typically flow? What do you, again, without a lot of homeowners association?
Absolutely. Whatever you guys feel most comfortable with. I have been as creative as creating an internal chat. If you guys like for updates, we can do weekly updates. We can do quarterly updates, bi-weekly, whatever. I don't want to overwhelm you with every nuance and every detail. However, whatever feels more comfortable with you guys is what we're willing to do. But again, most recently, we did create an internal chat via our app so that you guys can get updates on the work, watch the project timeline, post any questions, comments, concerns, whatever that looks like for you.
All right, any other? Yeah,
One question.
quickly.
So, you said you'll be starting like the second pool as the first one is like finishing?
Yes,
So there will be some overlap where 2 pools are closed at the same time?
yes.
And how long would that closure of that overlap be? Like if you were to just say like,
About 3 weeks. Right, so when we start the first project, once we start the drain and the initial surfacing process, while that is curing, we can go ahead and start the refinish of the interior part, and then we can go ahead and move to the second phase. So again, I would say 3 weeks.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Your terms and conditions are 50% upon contract and then a 25% and 50% completion. Are you open to 50% upon completion?
I'm open to it.
Okay.
I'm open to it.
We have reached 5 minutes. Would you like to continue discussion?
Anyone else have any questions?
I just have a question for management.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Appreciate it.
Partner programs for the closure, the overlap, has that been kind of like discussed or looked at? And it's gonna be okay?
I think what we were looking at is making sure that it doesn't interfere with the cyclone season. And in the discussions that it would be in, I think our overlap was not on the 2 main pools, starting on Spring Lake and then doing one of the other ones.
Okay.
With the idea that one of the 2 lap lane pools is open.
After this one, yeah, okay, that makes, I see what you're saying. Okay.
All right, spies.
Thank you guys for having me here. I'm Robin Sanchez. I'm with Speed. Well, not spies. Everybody thinks we're spies. It's actually Speed.
Bees, oh, see, it's spelled spy.
It's okay. On my gas, we spy on our pools. But so we've been in business for 35 years. We're local. We're down the street from the loop, also the Rockaway right near the loop. You might have seen our trucks in here before. Probably about 7, 8 years ago, we were in here doing a lot of repairs, touching on some of the resurfacing on some of the pools, probably even longer than that. I was not with the company at the time. I've been with them for 5 years. As far as we, as a company, we do solely commercial. We do not touch any of the homeowners' pools. We do renovations, 6 trucks for chemicals, and we have a service department that does all pool repair. So that's generally our main and only focus. The only thing we do not do is clean. We don't clean pools. We actually do have a very good relationship with Marisol Corporation. We've renovated pool, spa, and all their fountains. The gentleman's name is Mauricio. If anybody wanted to, I don't know how it would work here, but like I said, we have a great relationship with them, and I'm sure he'd be happy to show you their pools. And like I said, we've been in and out of here a couple times. Sometimes you guys get some cleaning companies in that do repairs, so then our services are no longer needed. But as far as our renovations are concerned, your 2 larger pools, it really for us, date-wise, I'm just trying to think of everything you guys that already have. As far as dates are concerned, that will have to be with my renovation manager. I didn't know exactly when you guys wanted to start. As of right now, I'm going to tell you that we're probably looking closer to December, January with speeds. We just did 7 pools out at Avalon community, which is very similar to your community where there's a lot of pools. And what we ran into was we closed one of their largest pools and then 2 other pools, and it ended up becoming a problem for the homeowners. So what we did on the second round was we spread it out. So that is 100% your choice, not ours. If you choose to do 1 pool, when it's finished, do the second pool, we can carry it that way. Sometimes the community don't mind if there's multiple pools closed, some communities do. So I'm going to really leave that into your decision to make with us. The larger pools typically is 3 to 4 weeks, depending on weather. A lot of the work can be done with bad weather. We have ways to work around it. The biggest thing with weather is going to be for the marsh site when that gets laid. We do everything in-house except marsh site. The marsh site is your floor. We bond coat it, we chip out everything, we handle everything that has to do with your renovation. The marsh is like a cement company, it comes in and pours the cement. I'm just trying to talk in terms that might make sense, sorry. So that's what we subcontract out. The company we've been working with, there are 2 local companies in Orlando. We have great relationships with both of them. They're really the only guys that have worked with us at Spies for years. So that's the company that's not a Spies employee. There's a Spies employee on either I'm at your pool almost daily, checking on your renovations. Derek, who runs management, the whole department, he checks on the pools. And then our team, we always have 1 team leader on the renovation, which communicates with me and Derek. Like I said, as far as communicating with you guys and you, it just depends on community. I'm giving you Avalon as an example just because it reminds me of you guys because there's so many pools. The way they wanted it handled, I was talking to you and your top maintenance guy. That's how they wanted it handled. So every community is different where, you guys come to us and you say to us, hey, we would like it this way. We'd like you to communicate with this person, update us this, how we can modify anything. There's not a standard procedure when it comes to HOAs with a community like this. Usually we also do a lot of the big resorts. Licky Tiki, all the diamonds, they're not diamonds anymore, but they still are in my head, the Hiltons, a lot of the Dolphin Resort, those are our accounts. So we typically deal with the engineers. So when it comes to these HOA communities that we are with, it's either we're dealing with the main person and their head maintenance person. But like I said, if you guys want us to submit pictures to somebody or whatnot, that's all up to, that's your decision. We don't have anything set in, protocol where it has to be a certain way. You ask us of us, that's what we'll provide. We need pictures on a daily or weekly, we can provide that to you. It's really by what your environment, your, residents want from us. But as far as our staff being there, it's going to be usually me on a daily basis. Derek that comes in probably 2 to 3 times a week. He checks on his team. And then we have 1 gentleman that's on ground all the time, every day. And he's the main contact.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
One last question for both of them. You can, based on the quality of materials and craftsmanship that you do, what is the estimated life?
So the company itself will give you a warranty, but I will be honest with you, on the warranty of your surface of the pool is the maintenance of the pool. So chemical balance is going to be your biggest. That's the best way to keep your pool. I can go to a pool and have to renovate it in 5 years because it was not maintained. The balance of the chemicals were not being maintained properly. I can go to a Florida pool that for 15 years and the surface is immaculate. So it's very hard. There have been times where we purchase that product that goes on your floor, on your bottom of your pool, and the product's bad. Obviously, we're going to warranty that. We're going to warranty, we're going to come in. It doesn't happen often. I think it's happened maybe twice in 35 years. It's very hard to warranty a surface of a pool if the chemicals aren't kept balanced.
I don't know if you've worked with them before, but we have Ecolabs as our
And that's
managing that.
Yes, and I know you
With
have
them in
one
place, is
Yeah.
there a range you can give us regarding with them overseeing the chemicals of the pool? What would be the estimated useful life?
If it's on an Ecolab system,
Yeah,
I can have Derek write an email to you on that. It is the best, one of the better systems out there. They are,
But basically, she said 5 to 15. If you don't maintain it, 5. If you do, 15.
it's just hard for me to come in, like I said, because
Yeah.
we've gone,
no, I'm saying if you had experience with Ecolab pools out there, how many under have there been damages that you had to replace them in 7 years?
yeah.
If I may, I will say historically about 10 years is a nice number. Also in looking at the existing surface that you guys are using, it's not the same surface that we were using. We use a more modern Bubble Tech, which would extend the life of it. So you guys have a quartz finish now. We will replace it with a Bubble Tech, which is a more a softer, more pliable finish. So that will increase the longevity and the lifespan of the pool. So I feel pretty comfortable with about 10 years.
All right, now we still have a motion and a second.
And questions for management.
Question for management, go ahead.
It's
Bids are
the
in.
children's pool side was excluded. Is there any concern or timing we need to be aware of if we are proceeding with the splash pad there, that the splash pad construction should be done so it's not damaging the pool we're servicing that would be completed?
It would be the intent that the construction of the splash pad takes place where it does not affect our operation of our main pool. So
So it should be fine that there's a right of access to get to the splash pad area without any damage or anything going over the new pool surface.
correct, yes, I did complete a site visit with one vendor for the splash pad today. It's very easy access around the backside of the pool to that space. So we shouldn't see any issues with affecting the main pool, except very and large any major plumbing that's tied into our current main pool plumbing.
Where is the RFP? Because this was the one that we had the discussion on, I think, a month or so ago, and we didn't have an RFP written before, correct? There was no pool resurfacing RFP that we could look back at. Where was it?
There was no RFP for this.
There was no RFP. How did we issue this? What did we issue to the market? Just, I'm trying to understand because we got one bid has references, one doesn't. There's a scope of work it's kind of just a little bit all over the place. I'm just trying to understand how we got these, how we procured these.
It was in direct conversations with the vendors.
Okay. So we went after these two, and then there was a third.
Correct.
Who was the third?
Crawford Square.
Why didn't they bid?
They were unsuccessful on being able to get us the numbers. They still have been trying to get us their.
What did we? Let me take this back. What did we issue as the instruction? Because that's what I'm struggling with seeing. Like, where is the directions to the market? What did we ask them to quote? I don't see anything in here for this type of cost. I guess is where I'm a little bit concerned.
Okay, and I apologize.
No. This is not. No. Just what?
That's fine. This was the very first project I was handed on.
No, it's okay.
Does not meet any of the board expectations.
No,
Please
no,
let me know so I can adjust it in the.
No, just what?
This project timeline, I started this about on the 20th of August, reaching out to vendors. And the very first, or within that first week, I was in contact with the 3 vendors that are in reference tonight. all three vendors were able to be on site within a week's time to review the property and understand a verbal scope of work on the project with some email communications on that. And Deja Blue was able to get us their proposal very quickly. The understanding on this is we want to start the project in around October timeline or very soon was the scope. And it was the 4 facilities that are being quoted out here, and that we would be bringing in at least 3 bids and most likely have.
So the vendor didn't see our standard terms and conditions or any, none of that was issued.
Correct.
Yeah, I have a problem with moving forward with this at this point, and especially cramming in 5 minutes for this type of expenditure. Yeah, that's just my opinion, but so
Yeah.
that's my position.
The scope of the work was pretty much resurfacing of the floors. I don't know what more else there would be.
I don't know what the scope of work is. I need to see the scope of work in order to, this is $240, $50, $60, $70,000.
231, 740.
I mean, this is, and again, tying into the procurement pain points, there's got to be some better consistency with this stuff for this type of cost.
Charles, what is your expectation of what should have happened? I guess on the
standard
RFP side.
on RFP, when you issue it, it has all of your scope of work, your statement of work, your terms and conditions. It's got everything that the market needs to know to provide a response and a consistent response. What I see is one vendor that's given references and then another that hasn't. The RFP dictates the proposals, and these are just kind of all over the place. So I'm questioning what was sent, and clearly what was sent.
References,
Customer, like work they've done with it, like one Deja Blue has.
like Spees has provided that. I can
Where-
share that with you if
Is it in the packet?
It was not in the packet.
Well,
I will say I understand what Charles was saying. I agree with that, although I feel that all of the questions that would be answered from that, I have enough information to proceed if we do choose to do that. From the questions we asked and from the information that is provided, I feel we have enough information.
Yeah, I was looking, it seems like we have good information on what each one is going to do. It's broken down clearly.
Yeah.
The difference between these 2 bids is $34,000. That's pickup truck and change.
Yeah.
So, if let's put it to a vote and see what the decision is. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 5-1. Okay, thank you very much. And let's go on to A.
Can I ask that, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
If there's no objection, A, B, C, E, F, and N are all,
They're all the same thing.
they're all reserve items.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to discuss it, happy to discuss them.
Why don't we, yes, I agree. Why don't you move to approve all of those?
Motion to approve A, B, C, E, F, and N, all reserve study items, reserve fund
You got a
items.
second discussion?
So the new reserve study, is there any impact on any of this?
No.
So
Any other-
It came in today, so it really hasn't been reviewed too thoroughly on anything. No, unfortunately, yeah.
Are we gonna have to how is that gonna?
It's not gonna be good.
To, well, he went A, B, C, F, and everything, E, F, and N. Everything. All the reserve items that are all coming out of.
So can we just clarify about Spring Lake? Because there was a lot of drama.
I had a question on that too.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Wanted to discuss it.
Talking about the Spring Lake
The irrigation.
irrigation,
in
yeah,
spring.
everything, okay.
There was a lot on social media about dead.
Okay, that was,
So Lauren will explain now why this is.
I was just curious. Yeah,
And what's being done now to rectify it.
is that what they did, what some residents were showing, and I think we discussed it before, those pots, the planter pots weren't getting watered. I was trying to look through this bid. Is this also gonna fix the water? Okay, that was all.
I'm here if you have any questions about the specific work that he's going to be doing.
That answered my question.
Yeah, so we put off replacing a lot of the dead plants, dead sod
Yeah.
until we fix the irrigation because otherwise we're just throwing good money at it.
I remember that discussion. I just wanted to make sure that part was.
When did we find out there was an irrigation issue?
Brian and his team have been working for a good significant period of time trying to troubleshoot the irrigation issue in Spring Lake, and we've finally come up with the resolution.
So yeah, it's probably a combination of the sun, everything, fire, yeah, that makes it over. But then there's also the irrigation on top of it that created more deterioration. This is the first fix to get it back to proper standard.
There's a lot of
With it being different than the rest of the development built at a different time, the whole system is completely different than the rest of our villages. So it took a lot of work to figure out where those issues lie.
And are we doing a quality improvement or is this a cheap fix?
It's fixing it and fixing it right.
Does that answer all the questions on this? These items?
Anybody else have anything? So let's see. All those in favor of approving A, B, make sure I got this right, Jared, C, E, F, N, I.
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah. Okay. Unanimous. Yes. Now we can move on to D. I'm so confused. Motion to approve CQ Aquatic Solutions rate increase and a 2-year contract extension. Motion? Second?
So
The increase is already budgeted in 2025. So it's already accounted for.
So I asked Lauren this before the meeting. This is in our packet now. This is effective 10/1, but we were notified of this this wasn't, they just dropped it on us like a week.
no, we got it about 2 weeks ago. It just wasn't time for the board packet.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. G, motion to approve pool resurfacing for Spring Park. Oh, we did this. G, done. H, motion to cancel cost sharing agreement.
I'll make the motion.
Second? Discussion? Any?
I
Yeah, it is what it is.
don't think there has been service provided. I don't think there's been anything billed. So it's something that's out there that this is just house cleaning.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve charter amendment capital improvement assessment. Motion? Second?
Second.
Discussion. I think this one needs explaining.
Yeah, do you want to pull the language up for?
It would be helpful because I know you've had your hands on this one, but we also talked through the process too for the vote and kind of breaking it up after this, like how that works.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think maybe you should take the lead on this because it's finance.
Yeah, I want to pull the language up so it's read exactly as what the proposal is, and then we can get into the conversation.
Just a moment. While it's coming up, I guess I'll ask you a question about the process. So if by putting this up, what is it? It's $11,000 to put it out to a vote to the community?
That's approximately the cost of.
1,400 was the last.
Yeah, it was 10 and change. 11. Oh, I thought it was 10-8 or something.
That's I'm going to. Yes.
That's not. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so then, yeah, I guess to kick it off, so toward the bottom there, the current reading is that it is 1 year annual assessment. The change would be in the greater of the 1 year annual assessment or 1/2 of a % of the gross sale price of the property. Basis behind it is as our community continues to age, there's additional expenses that need to be taken into account. And in looking at what we provide in the budget from a homeowner standpoint to capital improvement, as well as what the current one is. We currently bring in about 450,000, which isn't sustainable for our community, so it needs to be increased. There was plenty of discussion between the finance committee on different options, and after, I would say, the past 45 days, this is where it came to the conclusion of this is the solution to proceed with. This will bring in about 1.8 million a year compared to
Based on,
Based on what?
projections of annual sales and the average sale price for what we do in a given year. So with that increase, with this increase, it would alleviate some of the pressure that we would need to put on our homeowners by increasing dues substantially, or by going forward with some type of special assessment with our town hall that's going to need to be either rebuilt or repaired. And then some of the master plan advisory recommendations of, if the community wants it, then we're going to need money to afford it. Yes, the 4 million, now about 3.6 looks good, but as again, we're going to get the CALIC report coming in soon. We'll know more about what the town hall cost will be, and if that is as high as it's going to be, this would hopefully alleviate us from having to take on a more sizable loan on our community to fix 851.
two questions. One, did it account for, in that 1.8 million, or your estimate of what it can make, did it account for incredibly slow sales periods like we have had so far this year?
I believe it went on the same expectation of what it is now, and that would be conservative based on not taking into account what the increase from Island Village would be on those numbers.
Second, is this a recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Yes.
Any other questions?
So you don't think that this will hurt the sale of homes when people find out they have to come up with this extra money to purchase the home?
And will it put some pressure on it? Yes, I think of course it will, because it's an additional expense, but is it something that will push so much pressure that will cause a hindrance? My view is no.
So we're talking on $1 million home, it's 50 basis points, so we're talking about $5,000.
It would be about 2,500 more than what it currently.
And the,
Because there already is a fee there.
yes,
This is just changing it. to-
And all we're doing, we are not approving or disapproving this. We are merely voting as to whether to send it to the community for their up or down vote,
So like basically we're going to let the homeowners decide.
as we have to do.
And then regarding that, with Charles was thinking about what the plan is, I think October would be education, that there's specific events or things that are out there for people to get more familiar with what this is. And then in November, that would be when the official vote is sent out for the community to vote on.
So is this going to turn into a lot D, forward picking your side type thing once this is up into the community?
no,
we're going to go.
aren't voting on it.
I'm saying, are we all just going to be? We should be silent on this, correct?
We each get our vote as a homeowner.
The homeowner.
Now, let me just ask another question though. The timing. We will have another CROA election in
In
February. Could this not be put on the same ballot?
It could, but then you would lose out on approximately $300,000 by waiting all the way until March and April.
So we're saving 11. We're saving 11, but potentially the community is losing 3 if it goes to an upvote.
And that's
$300,000 in 2 months?
That does sound high.
But also the way the community's voting right now, in prior elections, you've got pretty good turnout, so you've got a greater chance of at least getting the threshold vote.
I was going to say we got to get a threshold vote of
And
10%.
9% of 4,500.
So 450 roofs.
And that has to be a jar.
People are gonna start leaving town and stop.
That's a good point. We'll lose snow. But
November.
okay. Any other good explanation? Any other comments?
We're going to be proceeding with what the future of celebration will look like. This is a funding mechanism that will subside the full impact of increases on HOA dues, which lower HOA dues are attractive for different people coming in. I understand there's a little pain point up front, but this is something where it's a community vote that we put it to them to say, is this the direction celebration should be moving? And if not, then we will get the answer in their vote.
All
I
right.
think also this is something that's other communities utilize too. They, instead of like a capital, whatever the capital assessment, it's called like an enhancement fee. So this is used in other communities as well. And again, it's nothing, we're not adding anything new, we're changing it. So like on a $500,000 home, Homeowner is probably.
There are still $500,000 homes?
Yeah, there's like. So, I mean, a homeowner would technically pay, you know, what, $1,400 in dues approximately. Now they're paying $2,500 at closing. And that money can also be rolled into their mortgage. And what Andrew said about dues prices, when a buyer is looking at homes in the area, they're looking to see what are the dues. And Celebration historically has had lower dues. So keeping it, you know, the way we've been going, I think is a benefit for home sales.
I think that's one, I don't know if it was a member of the finance committee that kind of broke this down, and I don't know if you have the numbers, but this allows us to do phase one, the way this is phased out with, allows us to do phase one on the master plan, 2.5 million for 851, and still have 2 million in the,
Here it is.
still have 2 million in the reserve fund without raising dues.
All right, let's vote. Now, remember, a vote for this is not a vote in favor or against the issue itself. This is to send it to the homeowners for a vote. All those in favor of sending this to the homeowners for a vote? Aye.
Can I clarify when we're sending this to a vote? Are we sending?
In
this to a
November.
vote?
November
Okay.
12th. Yeah. That's what it's proposed. Moving along to the J, motion to approve master plan committee charter.
Motion.
Second,
One second.
discussion? I have discussion. I don't like this. I don't like certain parts of it because I think they violate the board's authority. The board committees are never, they are always, I should say, they're always subordinate to the board, always. This charter reads as if the committee is to tell the board what to do and boards going forward. There is no way that I can vote for something that binds this board or any future board to the whims of a committee. Committees are not voted for by the homeowners, the boards are. And I would, I have no problem with any portion of it that relates to the work that they do to make sure that things happen, but anything that gives them the authority to bind the board or to keep the board on track or to require that the board follows the master plan, I am opposed to, and therefore, as this is written, I will vote against it.
We want to talk through it?
Yes, please.
Before we talk through it, I'm sorry, I'm going back, but on I.
Aye.
On I,
We just did that.
right, and I wanted to vote no.
Oh, you voted no?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I just want that noted in the minute.
Okay, absolutely. So back to this. The thing here, I'll tell you, I think everything up to 5 is in the goals and objectives. I'm okay with. 6, no way.
Just walk.
7, okay. 8, maybe. 9, no way.
6 in, hang on, there was 2.
Goals and objectives.
In C, goals and objectives.
So what was the first one?
6, ensure CROA does not deviate materially from the 2024 master plan.
I'm just stripping that out entirely.
Develop measures and controls to ensure future boards honor the master plan strategy and do not deviate materially.
What was this?
It came from me from a combination of MPAG documents.
Yeah, well, I am totally opposed to 6 and 9.
Sorry,
I'm
it
okay
was a
striking
draft
it.
and we have conversations.
Okay, good. I thought this was going, I
I
mean,
appreciate Jared putting it together, but let's have the discussion.
perfect. Anybody have anything else?
Let's go back to that. 6.
6 and
Are we
9.
fine?
Yeah.
6 and 9? Well, then that was easy.
So then what else do we have?
That's it. The rest of it I'm okay with.
So if you can you take those out? Let's look at it. Just
And then can we review it with those deleted? Can we do that?
Well, we would just vote on this without 6 and 9.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't have a motion. Do we have a motion?
We do have a motion, but now we need a revised motion to adopt it with.
Can you go back?
I will revise my motion to
Make sure.
adopt the resolution without 6 and 9.
Perfect.
Of section C.
of section C, rules and objectives.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Okay.
Who seconded that?
I'll give it in a second. Hold on.
Can we scroll down? Sorry, just a little bit further. I just wanted to see the composition.
Oh, it's, yeah, the 5 CROA board members in good standing, or 5 CROA members in good standing, appointed by the board.
So, okay.
1 liaison, 1 staff liaison, non-voting.
You're gonna change that to 7 instead of 5.
That I guess we could discuss.
Yeah, we can, seven's always easier to get a quorum, but
We were voting on 7 tonight.
the criticality of a quorum on this one.
That's our next thing is, are we gonna pick 5?
We should change that now.
Change it
Yeah.
to 7 as well, so then we can.
Sure.
527.
Yeah.
Five,
527.
5-7. I
5 to
think,
7.
not,
and then we can.
not changing the word 5. 5-7.
David?
That
So
way.
Jared, if you revise that.
I will revise my motion to remove 6 and 9 from C and modify EA to 5 to 7.
And I'll second that.
Second, all those in favor? Aye. On to master plan committee members. Motion to, do we have the list? Have a list? Do we have?
I think, well, motion to approve, right? So,
Yeah, motion to approve.
and
To read the
I think
names.
Katie and myself are in line of, I think it should be 7.
And
I
I
don't know
thought
if
it should be
everyone-
5, and I was in agreement with yours, but I think it should be 5, so I selected 5.
So now what?
So you made the motion, you need to read the names.
Staying at 5, so I will
So
make a motion to,
we don't have a majority since only the 3 of
Hold on,
us
Jared.
voted.
Yeah, Jared, hold on. So 2 right now are open to 7. Jared is at 5. Where you guys stand? Do we do 5 versus 7?
I prefer 7 because of quorums, but again, with this, I am not sure that this committee is going to be as active as other committees.
can I state my reason?
Yeah, oh, yes, please.
The 5 that I selected are the 5 that were on. I feel that for at least the first committee, we need people who have the involvement and history and are showing the willingness to proceed to guide the first, at least the first group of this. Knowing that, are we turning this group over in March? So we're really looking at a group to guide us.
Standing group.
It's gonna be a standing group, but we can change the committee members.
See, the night of the meeting, and I sent the board, when I listened to the meeting, Charles, Andrew, and myself said that we should have kept the group the way they were, a standing group, and not even go through all of this.
Well, I'm glad we didn't though, because they didn't all reapply. There are some that didn't want to do this anymore.
Right.
Let's do this.
I think it was more procedural though.
Read me the 5.
The what?
Read us the 5.
Joanna Aben-Newman, Joe Daslett, Mark Maturo, Marco Messia, and Jim Pinot.
I think that they were on the committee and they did an outstanding job, and I think we should just keep them, like we said we were gonna keep them, the ones that bowed out, and we move forward with them.
But isn't there something to be said about bringing
New blood.
new people in for different perspective also?
So Andrew and I voted for those 5. And then there were a couple other people that also applied. And we also both voted for 2 new residents beyond, if we wanted to go with 7, then we were in agreement of the additional 2. We're all 3 in agreement of the original 5. And then if the board wants to do 7 members, Andrew and I were in agreement of 2 of the additional new committee members.
Which again, I'm not here to fight.
Yeah,
We're good with the 5. I'm good
Yeah,
with the 5.
I'm fine.
If we're open to 7, let's do 7. If we
Yeah.
want to keep it at 5 and move forward.
Why don't you build your bench strength with adding 7? And if you've got 7 people that want to volunteer, why wouldn't you? You still
Who are the
have
2?
the knowledge and the skills of the 5, and then you.
Dennis Dowd and Robert McAdoo.
I thought was Dennis Dowd on that one?
He was
So
on,
these are new additions.
Oh, okay.
he was on a different,
Yeah,
I was already looking for you.
I'm fine with them.
so it's up to the board, I guess.
Okay, well, let's
Since we changed it.
Let's get a sense of the board here. If you would prefer 5, raise your hand, please. 7,
This is not a thing.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, no.
But, all right, all those in favor of 7? Aye.
You need to read all the names.
I will also vote in favor of 7, yes. Like,
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
And
get
on 7, the 7 we just mentioned, you
Yes.
guys will
So
get
do
the
you want
names.
to appoint those 7?
All right. Now we're on to L, which is the motion to approve the $30,000 truck, which has changed, by the way, because the truck sold.
Motion to table.
Motion to table. We have a motion to table. Second.
I'll motion to discuss first.
Okay. All right.
Second the table.
Second the table.
We just talked about this in the last budget. Like, I'm surprised this is coming on so quickly. And then I guess so the business justification, can we just walk?
That's what I'd like to.
Yeah,
That's the same
can we
question.
walk through that? Because like Jacob, you wrote this, right? First of all, this is very good. Thank you for doing this. So this is, I think, what we need to be able to support these decisions. But can you maybe kind of give us, why we need it? Why?
Absolutely. Well, I feel business justification for spending an amount this big out of our capital fund is justified. So of course, it was a pleasure to write this. So currently we have a fleet of 3 trucks, and it's insufficient to meet our operation demands of our various departments, including Parks and Recreation, our Porter Services, Island Village inspections, Spring Lake inspections, maintenance needs, our service area needs, facility management, and our facility foreman. The shortage often leads to inefficiencies, delays, and the inability to fill our operational requirements. The purchase of 1 to 2 additional mid-sized trucks will significantly enhance our operation capacity of efficiency. These vehicles will provide the necessary resources to support the daily tasks of our department, allowing for a timely completion of projects and to improve service delivery. We propose a conservative approach by purchasing 1 truck this year and reevaluating the need for a secondary truck next year after assessing the impact of the newly acquired 4th truck. Assuming that the facilities director is to be hired will not be using their personal vehicle for business purpose as the former did, a 5th truck will most likely be necessary when we reassess the situation in 2025. So with the 3 trucks, like I said, we have 3 trucks currently. For the past 2 weeks, we've only had 2 trucks because routine vehicle maintenance takes a truck offline. We have 2 service areas that are 2 villages that are only accessible by the entire town hall team by these trucks. Our net fleet cannot access Spring Lake or Island Village. The expansion of Island Village also not being a consideration of this. We have constant problems in our department. People, process, and tools are my foundation to make sure that we are able to provide the community with the services that it requires and expects. In my first 30 days with Town Hall, the largest request from the Town Hall team was vehicle needs. We are seeing our recreation department spending 5.5 hours, our inspectors spending 1.5 hours, and our management spending 4 hours with in holding patterns, waiting to have vehicles to complete the necessary jobs that they are asked to do on a weekly basis. This is an inefficient use of our staff, and we can't meet the expectations as they're currently provided without an addition to our truck fleet.
It's only gonna get worse when you have a facilities director as well that's going to mainly occupy one of the trucks 24/7.
Okay.
We currently only have 3 trucks.
That's correct.
And I have to say, as much as I don't like spending $30,000, and I don't like it, the Island Village argument is one of the better ones that we have. And the fact of the matter is, on the other bid, and I just did some research on this bid, that's a really good price. You can't beat that with a used truck.
I looked at the same thing.
Yeah, you can't beat that with a used truck.
Keep in mind, these are also with more commercial interiors usually.
Right. But even then, I looked at commercial used, and they're hard to come by.
Again, we have a fleet that the oldest one is at 110,000 miles currently. So As things break or change or out of service, it's good to have 4 to rotate and in the new reserve study, there is every other year is 40,000 earmarked for a new truck that we got today. So that's already built out into the reserve study of
going forward.
Going forward, if we do this one this year, in 2 years, there's going to be a replacement, and then 2 years after that.
But this 33,000 is coming out of capital.
This would be capital.
So hopefully it shouldn't be maintenance in year one, because you've got the warranty, you've got the oil change.
Oil change, so that's it.
So we're talking about a couple $100 from operating conceivably, right?
So question is this the right truck? And when I asked that, this is a mid-size, smaller one. I know the Maverick was even smaller of a truck.
Yeah.
So is this going to be appropriate for what the use will be for whoever needs it in town?
The business seat is a smaller truck than our current truck fleet. This is mainly for our porter services and all of our inspections in Island Village, that the streets are smaller. It's just been recommended by our staff to have a smaller truck.
Yeah, no, that's what.
So this would.
I like a smaller truck, and I think how we're going.
We don't have any hills.
We're not being cheap and getting a small truck when actually your need is for a full size or something else.
We do not intend, if we do replace any of the current fleet in the future, to downsize them. We do need some full-size trucks in the fleet, but a smaller truck is what is appropriate at this time to add.
I think we should support management in this. That's my opinion.
So I'm going to amend my motion to approve. But, okay, so can we talk about the stock though? So you said the one that you're recommending now is not in stock?
No.
No.
So the one that is on the agenda is since entering the agenda on Friday is no longer available, and a replacement of the same like model is not expected to arrive in Florida in the near future. We went to one of the secondary options on our list. Provided to.
I like the Nissan front.
Charles.
I get a second.
Second.
So I'll amend motion, what is it, L, to read motion to approve the purchase of an additional truck for CROA.
33,190.
Nissan in the amount of $33,194. It's coming from CROA Capital Improvement, and the difference is there's dealer fees, taxes, and filing. So that's a difference from the $29,899 to the $33,190.
Seconds that. I'll second it since it was my idea for them to get a new truck.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Next. Finally written a porta potty. Okay. Anyway, motion to approve a 12-month porta potty rental. All right. Second. Why are we written a porta potty?
Maintenance
So
shed.
this is a Band-Aid right now to the maintenance shed that they have out there. And we're gonna need to have a bigger conversation as far as what we need to do out there, because clearly we can't have them peeing on the side of the building out there, or having to drive all the way across town to.
Yeah.
So,
No offense to the discussion, it's $100. Can we just vote?
I think
Yes.
it's great.
All those in
I just want to preface that I think we need to have a maintenance shed as future discussion
Sure.
on.
Yeah. All those in favor? Now, motion to propose, I should say, the 2025 budget to the community. Motion,
Motion to approve.
second,
For discussion?
discussion, seconded by Jared. Discussion.
This is the final budget? Or we
No, this is the final version where we're at today.
But we've
It's
got
not the
reserve-
final, for what will go out. This is what the first letter will go to the homeowners of what it is.
Yeah.
And then in October, that's when we will
Then they see the.
finalize.
No, and the finance committee we did have the funding plan for the reserve study during the finance committee meeting last night, and we did discuss whether they wanted to adjust up the contribution next year. The consensus generally was they were comfortable leaving it as it was in the 2022 funding plan, because a lot of the stuff that was booked for 2025, new one, had to do with the 851 building and some other things that we had delayed.
So I'm looking at the overall numbers for both the HOA assessment and trash. It was 1547.86 last year. This proposed budget right now is 1655.06, which is a $93.63 increase, or a 6.925% increase.
Is that with the marketing role built in
Yes,
from
that was-
CROA?
That was the adjustment from when we met at the joint meeting at our workshop, that this is in there based on our most recent discussions in the CJC. That is one of the terms.
And then, so going back to what I was asking about the CJC thing, we haven't finalized necessarily the cost sharing, correct?
Right.
I listened to it. It sounded like we're moving in that direction of continuing.
Yeah, so the things that I hope we resolve earlier in October would be the contract renewal with Grand Manners and the cost sharing agreement with CJC and Canoa, so that those will be resolved. We can get those fixed numbers into the final budget, and then we're good.
And we shared the 6.9 version with the board.
It was sent to the board on
Friday.
Friday.
Was it worked on yesterday?
No,
It changed.
change anything.
It's the same one as that. Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to amend board resolution assigning ARC approvals to management. Second. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve ARC design guideline for painting exterior, same color request as approved by ARC and the Covenants Committee. That is, that's, so basically that's going to expedite the color, same color.
Yeah, same color, then so we need to go through.
Charles, Celia, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve three-month trial program for Momentum Wellness. Motion? Second?
Second.
Celia, Charles, Celia.
Yeah, this is the one with the rec committee, committee updates.
Right, you mentioned this, yes. Any other discussion about it? All those in favor? Aye. Motion to approve special guest event policy for Spooky Soiree.
Find it in here.
Motion, second?
I'll make the
Second.
motion.
All right, Celia's gonna read it.
I gotta find it. Hold on.
She's not gonna read it until she finds it.
No, it can be a long time.
Just have a lid.
The packet, you want to read from here?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, make it bigger.
Yes.
I'm only reading it because,
It's live television. Okay, that better?
yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I'm only reading it because there was some controversy about this at our last meeting. So for the spooky soiree, the celebration community continues to grow and the number of residents that attend lifestyle events increases each year. To enhance the experience for celebration residents, the Special Events Committee and Lifestyle Management Team is recommending a special guest policy for the Spooky Soiree event scheduled for Friday, October 25th, 2024. A guest is defined as anyone who does not reside in a celebration residence household. Under the Spooky Soiree special guest policy, the following will apply. Celebration residents in good standing with the CROA ID may enter the event free of charge. Children under 12 who reside in the household and who are accompanied by a CROA ID holding resident may enter the event free of charge. If a celebration resident intends to bring a non-resident guest, there will be a $5 per guest fee. Only 4 guest tickets may be purchased per CROA ID. So this is a special event that's going on and they can move forward with charging this $5.
I ask, is there any reason why 12 is being used?
The age 12 and under.
They can get a CROA ID.
You can get,
Right.
Above that, they get a CROA ID.
Yeah.
It's the expectation that anyone over 12 gets their own.
yeah. So just so it's coming before the board.
It's 4 per ID?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hasn't it always been that?
No, this time, if you're bringing 4 guests, they're paying $5 each.
Okay.
Yeah, it's usually been 4.
It's usually free for 4 guests, but because of the size of the event, it's under their purview that they can charge.
One more question.
The statement was made so that way you couldn't bring 10 guests and pay per
Oh.
guest.
And which, moving forward, I would like to get with the technology committee and John Greenberg maybe, because when we rolled out Gallagher, it was discussed that they would be able to try to get it so then if you go through the line with your ID and your wife comes 4 people behind you, that already says that that address has already gone through. That's how we're trying to cut down the amount of people that are coming to the events.
Rather than the pen and paper of checking off different owners and all that kind of stuff too.
Right, well, we gotta get, that was a buy-in with Gallagher. He said that it was possible to be done.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that if it's an opportunity or if there's kind of like a mobile check-in that goes to different events and
Right.
you got to scan to get in, then that makes
Right.
sense.
All those in favor?
Question.
Oh, another question. Hold on.
Spooky soiree, when it was advertised in the Friday Flash originally, did it say 2 guests? Access free?
Moving forward, we had the special event meeting last week. And because there was some pushback on it at our last meeting, they went through it, discussed it in detail, and this is what we're approving tonight. The board, the committee makes the recommendation, the board is approving it.
Yeah, but Katie said we already communicated something different.
That was a while ago.
But it was communicated to the,
Yeah, I guess-
I'm not saying right away, it was communicated a different policy for. the-
Because we didn't have this in place.
Yeah, I think.
But I'm gonna say there's gonna
I
be
think-
some
I think
confusion with
I think
residents.
there's agreement on the policy, but I think the implementation of the timing may not work because we
It's-
can say,
In September.
I know, but we can't say that we're having an event with certain parameters and then so many weeks ahead of that event, we say we're changing.
Well, then there's gonna be
Yeah.
an awful lot of people coming into that event. That,
Then we need to think of something
I mean,
because to avoid confusion.
I'm fine if we can do like
Communicate,
four
just
guests
communicate.
at max, but I don't know if we could do the 5-minute charge. That's,
Well, if we can just over communicate this.
Yeah, you can.
Just beef up the
Seen there a lot of-
communication.
Yeah.
It's just free.
That it has changed from initial, marketing.
Each of the minutes.
I know, but that's why they had the meeting and that's what we're trying to change.
Where do we, so we put this on digital signage, do we put it in the magazine, like where have we already communicated this?
It's on the website, but let me ask, has anyone signed up?
There's no signups.
Oh.
It's an open, it's like
Oh, that's for the costume
It's a
contest.
big,
Show up.
event.
so there is no tickets for it then.
Right, you just show
Not a
up.
ticket,
You
you
just
just
show
show up. Okay.
So people, when they show up, they need to know.
Right.
If they read the prior Friday Flash, they may show up thinking one thing. And then they show up hearing
So we
something
can
else.
put out,
Yeah, I think it's low risk. I think as long as we're fixing the communications going forward and making sure we hit all the channels. And then obviously thinking about what's already out there.
How about this? If somebody shows up and says, I read that it was 2 guests free.
Mhm. We
Right?
have to-
Who said that? We're gonna let you know.
well, then you just.
No, just for the
recording.
Yeah, but
forgot.
we already told everybody that, so it's the same.
Yeah, it's the same.
Already sent out a Friday Flash.
We can make sure we have management at the check-in to handle a case
Okay.
basis.
Yeah.
If that circumstance were to come
We
up.
have to
And
start,
we handle it with.
Honest to goodness, I doubt, I think we're overthinking because a lot of people, most people aren't gonna go.
Well, 'cause we got an email on it. That's.
No, but what I'm saying is that not a lot of people are gonna go, oh, $5.
well,
Oh, that's gonna break.
we had pushback at our last meeting to the board that committees were making decisions without the board's approval.
They shouldn't.
So the committee sat down, went through it, and now it's before the board.
I agree with all of that. I'm just saying,
Okay,
there's communication we need to kind of fix so we don't.
Fresh can go out once it's approved.
We're a month out from the event and there's no tickets prior, so I'm fine with.
all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Let's see, how about the motion to approve Academy Row and Meeting House Green investments?
I'll second.
I'd like to know more about this, just because it says the word investments.
They want to somewhat mimic what CROA is doing with their investment.
I'll get more money.
They want to.
And they came up with it, we gave them the rates that were available to them and they proposed a plan.
Yeah, and this stays within
Yes, Swifty's on this, like, quite all right.
their service area that they're deciding it.
Then all those in favor? Aye. Motion to ratify Artisan Park budget. Can we do? I thought they were doing that tonight.
Oh, they approved their budget.
Motion to ratify.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I need to
Question?
recuse myself from this.
You can just
Involves
abstain.
my son's salary.
All right, so it's all those in favor? Aye, and a recusal. How about we just go through these very quickly? B, W, and X. I didn't, huh? I don't have any.
We didn't get the updated one.
I looked through the pile and didn't see it.
It's in the packet online.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
is it on the
not the
other
updated one. But updated.
I'll make a additional motion to approve.
All three?
I'll second.
All three.
Okay. Additional motion to approve all three. Yeah, just seeing if it's any agreements.
I'm good.
Yeah, that's good.
Take the motion?
Here did.
Andrew seconded.
Andrew second. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Now to discussion items. We have a management update coming. Would that be you, Jacob?
That will be me.
All right. Tell us the story of management update.
Good evening, everyone. This is the management update for the September board meeting. New hires, we are excited that we have our communications manager, Belinda, that is planned to start next week, October 2nd. The much anticipated facility director that was given a job offer on to start September 23rd, unfortunately had to resign from his candidacy. This sets us back as far as our facility director. So we are actively looking to replace actively reviewing applications for the facility director. Open positions as well are IT director, which we are actively interviewing. We have a maintenance foreman position and a maintenance tech position that we were holding on filling until we had a director. But we're already taking applications on those, and we're still looking through part-time pool monitors. Miscellaneously, the temporary office at Bank of America for the staff, while a nice facility, is presenting operational challenges. The distance between resident services and the back office staff is creating communication barriers as well as physical barriers regarding residents needing access to staff members at times. The Parks and Rec team is currently working remotely at the CCFC ticket counter. We have one open desk at the Bank of America building that we plan to fill with the communications manager. However, we are struggling to find suitable work locations for the IT director and the facilities director. On an operational update, we, along with the entire community, are so excited for the opening of our Spring Park playground. Upcoming, we are inside the room. We are have some of the design elements of the Spring Park and Lakeside restroom renovation project that is still in the early phases. The Hippodrome Park received most of its final installations this week, and it looks really very nice. I would recommend to take a look at that park. The trees just did arrive today in that park and are set without stakes in case the weather does get bad over the next few days. They don't receive any damage and they can lay down to the ground. We had an HVAC system, we had a large HVAC issue at the 851 building that received some downtime, and we did have some concerns with our servers. Luckily, that has been fixed and it's all back in operation. Regarding IT, the Grand Manor's IT support team has completed about 90% of our account access going with ongoing work regarding our VPN and our YouTube accounts. We are still able to post our meeting videos on YouTube. Just the administrative account is something that we're still working on, and they are still on site actively helping us with the interim of that position. Smart Webs is beginning beta testing with inside of our community standards team with a few residents in the beta program on that. That concludes the management update.
Thank you, Jacob. Any questions for Jacob?
So you've been in the role now for 5 weeks, right? 5 weeks?
That is correct.
What is your first? How would you say the first 5 weeks have been? What are you seeing in this?
No, I'm not asking that. It's,
I'm genuinely curious because what do you think that we're doing? Good, well, not well. We all have opinions on this, but what do you think? Where do you think? What's your first view of kind of what's going on?
So overview, I knew that the first 30, 60, 90 and a bit more would be extremely involved and quite demanding. And that I'm seeing it so. It is about 7:30 a.m. to 7:30, 8 p.m. Monday to Friday.
well, at least precise.
Long shifts like that for a role like this is what I tended to expect. The issue I am finding is that it is much more reactive instead of proactive inside that.
Did you say combative?
I did not.
No.
So I am finding that it in this role there is a lot more of those issues requiring day-to-day kind of ping-ponging back and forth that is taking away from the actual general management and oversight of the operations of the town. Some of the larger areas in this, and I know that offsite we have looked in discussions on ways to improve this, and I look forward to that, is with our member communications, and that has gone up and down. And mainly with that, I have noticed that was a shocking factor to me transitioning into this role from a different HOA environment is the board of directors' trust of the on-site operations team. I was fortunate in my past role that the board was very trusting in the management team, and that is just something that was a personal shock. And I tend to very much work hard to make the board and the committee trust our operations and management team. Our people, processes, and tools is something I shared with the board in my interview, and I know I mentioned here. What I always talk about with that is that's fundamental to allowing us to do anything. We have to have the right people in our roles. And I know we've done some great work this year on right sizing salaries so we can allow the right people in the roles and have best retention on top talent inside the area. The people overall in our team we have a very good team. It's the processes and tools that I'm noticing are the issues to allow them their full potentials. Something that I am always temperature gauging on is the team culture inside of our environment. Our town hall team culture has been one of those that I am really working on as well. Something that I did notice is you have about 40 staff members that at time are living in a fear-based culture. Anytime a word RFP on contract comes up, puts their idea of a livelihood and their position working for this town, that they like working for the town. And a lot of them consider themselves employees of Celebration over employees of a management company. That's something I like the board and our Celebration community to consider at times. While yes, there is a contract to hold up expectations, and a management company does fortify our operation, especially when it comes to our HR, payroll, and other executive level managements. The staff that you have on site, especially in our entry level roles, those people are here working for the town, and we need to make sure that overall, us as management, as a company, and our board value them as individuals. When it comes to our processes, that's something overall that we're working on. I know that ARC and Covenants is really working on those processes. The switching over to Smart Webs is another element that's going to help our community standards team immensely. And then the switching over to Gallagher is a bit of a bumpy process, but overall I think will be better for our community as long as we can work through that. Tools, This was kind of a test on my end on seeing how we could respond on an ask for tools tonight regarding a truck. Some other items that were interesting to see whenever I started the town was actual physical tools inside of our maintenance team. A lot of them they missed a lot of tools that they really needed, and we were actively working on purchasing these. These were not major purchases. These are not major machinery. It's sets of tools that each maintenance team can go out, has the right tools for the job, and that there's not one set of tools that they can't complete a job because it's with another team. So that's been something that has actively been worked on to improve. The other issue on tools is work location itself. The temporary office is something that I am noticing is a bit of a challenge. It's great as a temporary location. The other concern I have is how long is temporary as we look at this, and we might need to, that might be something that we as a higher management and board need to evaluate in the future, but just kind of putting it on the radar. I think that kind of
You went way. No, I just want to say that I personally, we all interviewed Jacob. I think he's an incredible addition to this community, not just a grant manager, to this community. And you have to remember, he's been in the job for 5 weeks in a period of extraordinary turmoil. We have had a lot of turmoil with our management company and with the employees, and we as a board, I think, are working to try and turn that around. We've had some pretty good discussions about it, but I think Jacob is doing a terrific job. I think that overall, we are beginning to see improvement. There's room for more, because we saw that tonight, that things still have fallen through the cracks, but I do believe that as this team matures together and these new people come into place, that we have a very good chance of having a highly functioning management operation. We do, to Jacob's point, the town hall 851 has to be our priority. It's got to be our priority as a board. So anyway, Jacob, thank you so much for the management report.
Just one more thing real quick. With your executive leadership here and with the board here, are you getting what you need from Granite Manors? Because we talk about holding commissioners outside.
No.
He can only answer that one way, realistically.
Think about it. No, they're here.
Well, no. Is there anything you need from Granite Manors? Is there anything that you are, I'm just curious. Are you,
Yeah.
is there anything you would like to say with the board here? Nothing?
I think we're pretty good. I mean, that seats are at town hall. There's a lot more that this community does internally that differs very, very different than most HOAs. As we know, we're a very large integrated HOA that has a lot more entities than most small homeowners associations that is just one neighborhood. That makes it quite challenging. One, just as an operation of an HOA, but also for any management company to best assist. My goal overall is that we can handle a lot of what we need to do internally. Once we have our staff, we're missing, a manager and 2 directors right now. That is, an operational struggle for sure. There are 4 elements that I look at that as my job that are my stakeholders. One is our management company, who I do report to, and as you said as a joke, it is funny, but no, overall that relationship is good. There's our town hall team. I report to them as well, making sure if the team on site isn't happy with me, then something is wrong. I report to the board of directors, and I think that relationship needs to be very integrated, very working together. You're here to serve the community. I'm here to serve the community. We have one common goal, and I just want to always make sure we're working towards that common goal and that we're not ever butting heads against each other, because that's going to be to detriment to the community if that happens. And lastly is our community members themselves, which overall, I was really surprised at the welcome and my overall responses with residents in all aspects, and even disputes and everything. There's always going to be some angry residents. But overall, I've noticed with all staff engagements with residents, it's been a really positive experience, and I'm really happy to work for a community like Celebration and also live in a community like this.
Thank you.
And in a little bit, you mentioned the 2 director spots that are open. I think the IT, we're closer to having that filled within the next couple weeks.
I've got 4 interviews set up, one tomorrow, a couple Monday and Tuesday, so they're highly qualified candidates. Jacob and I are both interviewing facilities directors over the next week as well. And we are starting to review applications for the maintenance supervisor, because we just can't wait to have those 2 leadership roles filled so long. So we had it originally as a landscape and project foreman. The candidates we were getting in just weren't going to be successful in what we needed them to do. So we modified the job description again and reissued it yesterday, I believe. Troy issued that. I can send that updated job description to the board. It keeps a lot of the key elements. It just changes the language some, so we're getting the right people applying for the role.
Now I need to, we have 4 more discussion items and we have a hard stop.
Yeah.
In 15 minutes, so,
Can we go to, is it okay to move to facilities and landscaping current projects since you're already speaking?
absolutely.
Can we just, do you mind going over that now?
Where we are with some.
Yeah, E, discussion item E.
So I know, as you know, the board has completed a lot of projects regarding landscaping. We have a few more in the pipeline as far as improvement projects to reach this on facility projects.
I'm sorry, just in the effort of time, we need to ask direct questions. Where are we with this shade, the sunshades? Let's start with that one.
Okay. Where we are with our current sunshade structure, the vendor that was selected for this project has been a bit not clear on all of the communications going back and forth. Anytime we provide some updates on expectations of timeline, we get feedback back, or we get saying, yep, that seems an acceptable timeline pending this item. The back and forth is putting us in a bit of a spot of not looking like we can complete it with the on the timeline that was proposed, and even a delay on the timeline that has been adjusted. I do feel that the vendor selected can complete this project, and we can have shade structure before the next hot season. I do not think that we will have it on time with the vendor that is chosen or that is in contract.
This is Rec 360.
Hold on a second then.
Hold on a minute.
The vendor did sign a contract and agree to liquidated damages. I believe we paid 50% up front, so we're in about 36,000, I think, with permits. So switching, we'll be out that money. I looked at the liquidated damages, but just off the top of my head, math wise, I'm not sure how accurate I am. But I feel like the break-even point is around 3 months after the initial deadline, to where if the sunshades are completed within 3 months of October, we don't know anything else. I mean, if they're at the 3 month mark, we owe 0. If it's before then, we'd owe whatever remainder.
What's the date there?
October 15th.
They want to move it to November, correct? That's which we've not agreed to. Our amendment is for October.
That's correct.
I think we should keep that.
Can I be very clear? Partial project by November.
Just
The other by December, January.
And God knows if that's even true.
But that's the break-even point. That's
What gives you?
It does get different when you do try to look into trying to get sorry, just lost my head. The word you mentioned on
liquidated damages.
thank you on liquidated damages, because right now the delays are regarding permitting, and when your delays are regarding permitting, trying to hold up to
Do
that.
we pay for the permit?
We paid for the permitting in May, June.
Yeah,
Those part for positive, I thought.
and.
Yeah, but there were hangups on site plans.
They only need permits for the shade structures. They don't need them for the pool structures.
So I talked to counsel today because he could not be present about collecting liquidated damages on this contract. I asked one, is it even worth it for a contract with guys? They said, maybe, maybe not. And I also asked, what's the likelihood of actually being awarded liquidated damages? Because there's very strict guidelines on when liquidated damages can be collected. Because the vendor can say they have been working to get site plans and accurate site plans and working to get them to the county. Even though we provided them everything that we had available to us, the council said we might not be able to collect liquidated damages.
So two things on that. They would have to prove that they've been working at that, not just say that they're working. They would have to prove it. And getting liquidated damages, we don't have to pay them the final balance. If we owe them $40,000 and the liquidated damages is 0.5% for every day they are past the contract, we can just deduct that from our final. So, and then if they want to litigate it, then sure, let them. But contractually, we don't have to pay them that money and then wait for it to come back.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we have to pay them the balance at the end before you then try to get liquidated damages back. I'm just setting the
I would suggest that even that it has been a constant comedy of errors among all kinds of people. The company has been slow. The county doesn't have the site plans that they should have. They were not in our files here. There were so many hangups with this thing that I would suggest that we allow them the extra time and negotiate for a discount. That we ask for a discount on the price due to the fact that there is contributory negligence on multiple sides, that we don't get a ton, but they give us something off and they get those first structures done in November as promised. No deviation from that we certainly know Peggy and as a county commissioner, she may be able to push the permitting process through a little bit. We can ask her to help us as a community.
Do we really have confidence though in this vendor?
But what's our option?
No, I understand that, but also we've tried.
Our option was we should have.
Okay,
I know.
You can say that. We should have done all kinds of things.
Chief down.
Well, this is also the vendor that we tried to award it to in December.
What I'm saying is where we are.
And we wouldn't have a playground.
Yeah.
Should we have them come in?
And I was here in December, so.
Recreation 360 has built playgrounds in Island Village.
Yeah.
Not that we just took somebody off the street.
Okay, but rather than argue this whole thing, we can sit here all night and we can blow off all the rest of our agenda. Or we can come to some sort of a solution that solves the problem now, that isn't filled with recriminations about what we should have done the previous board. I would suggest that we get the darn shade structure done.
I think we need a hard.
And we ask for a discount and we say, we want the ones at the pools done November 15, they said? November 15?
Have they been reminded of liquidated damages and of what that cost is to them? Has that been pointed out specifically?
So we haven't had specific conversations about liquidated damages.
Just kind of drop it. Say the board was asking for this, so you really need to do something.
I'm happy to do that, and we can lay out a specific timeline expectation for them with the November 15th deadline. And if we even
And
want
let me know, and we'll make it public. Yeah, I'll make it public.
I would show them like, look, if you're doing November 15th, you're losing this much money. What do you want me to tell the board? Say, I'll go to bat for you. What do you want me to tell them? Are you going to get it done by November 15th? Maybe I can have them not pull that,
Now, just as another layer of clarity, the two shade structures that are looking at coming first are the smaller ones that are for the pool equipment. The main ones that this project was brought up for is the Island Village playground and the East Lawn playground. Those are the ones that we don't have a timeline on at all. It's pending on the engineering drawings and the.
They've been saying that.
Right, they've been saying that since June. And again, so that's why we need to go back and say, we need hard, firm numbers, and we need some sort of consideration from you. We need a financial consideration for you. Otherwise, the board is ready to take this thing to the lawyers. Do you want that?
Well,
perfect. How does that work? All right.
Quick update. And it's because you even mentioned it.
What did I do?
No, we have to, is there an update on 851 and Calic?
Oh, yeah, Calic. So
their draft report is due next week, and we They're just at the Jacob.
They've been on site multiple times. They're engineering, they're architecting, they seem to be doing a very good, very extensive job on this analysis.
So we'll be receiving a draft report from them next week.
That was an off the cuff statement
Yeah.
today, end of next week. It's not in a writing statement.
So it's coming.
It'll be here, it sounds like it'll be here before our next workshop.
So I do have a meeting invite from them of draft condition assessment from Khalid, October 1. So that's their goal. He did state that then there would be some weeks of back and forth and discussion with the board in terms of next steps and what recommendations would be.
All right, anything else on that? Do we need to talk about scope refinement for architect and landscape? Can we fit it in 5 minutes?
Push that to the workshop. Let's put it to the workshop.
Let's push it to the workshop. Workshop at Parks and Rec.
We just need to do one.
We just need to do one. Art chair.
Dismiss.
I don't think there's anything to discuss.
Okay.
Should we do another call for candidates for the art chair and the rec committee?
Let's circle up with Eric, but probably.
I need to talk to the rec committee. Yeah, let's put that for the workshop.
We do have, we just did the call for our, we have a lot of resumes. So that were literally just sent in.
Okay. We have a second if there are board comments that are essential.
I have a question on that. What's going on with the ballots at Long Meadow?
So I have the bollard designs are with the engineer to make sure they meet the ASTM standards for playgrounds and their requirements. I have bids from Diane and the other company that she mentioned to you guys at the last workshop or board meeting for the Long Meadow, the equipment adjustment and install. I have one bid for artificial turf. We're waiting on 2 more bids for artificial turf, and then we can get it as a whole package to the board.
There are bollards in front of Walmart, in front of a museum, and we can skew more towards something that blends into the landscape.
It'll look more like the landscape lights.
Okay, that are around the park.
Uh-huh.
The kind with
That's
the,
maybe
yeah,
it comes down to a
yes.
decorative sleeve.
Yes.
Which is fine.
Can't have the target one, like the big ball.
Yeah, like you don't want to see that. I mean,
Make them green.
You could just do green balls, yeah. That,
So I have one thing.
well, yes.
So I really wanted to talk about exquisite. I really wanted to talk about landscaping because for over a month and a half, we were promised a park by park overview of where things are. I have not seen that.
So
And we don't have a plan for Long Meadow. We don't have a plan for out here. Those 2 parks alone cost $7,800 a month of landscaping, and we don't have a plan. And I feel like we're just going on and on with this, and there has to be a plan quickly.
So
I just am not seeing anything.
we had an engineer out here to check this field to see if there's any sinking or anything that we're waiting on that report. Jacob and Albert were working on a Long Meadow plan. We're waiting on the design. Albert, I believe, Jacob. Or Brian, sorry.
Yeah, Albert's, the last we talked, Albert was coming up with a design. I haven't heard anything about it.
We haven't seen a plan. You were at the workshop a month and a half ago. We talked about a plan, park by park.
Yeah,
Where is it?
I was under the impression that the landscape architect was designing the park, because
So
that's
he's providing this, so we can go through and itemize costs.
Jacob and I both completed most of the parks last week. We weren't able to finish them. After we were going to complete them, we'll come up with a report and work with Albert and Brian.
Workshop.
Yes.
So
I will
just one
We
last.
are moving, it's just, there's not enough.
It sure-
Like that to be a monthly occurrence in one management update
So-
that you have every.
There will be a monthly, moving forward, there will be a monthly grading. It's just not a physical possibility.
They're short of facility staff.
Get it, but again, Long Meadow is $4,500 a month, Spring Park is whatever.
They're
and-
still cutting the grass and.
Yeah, but what are they cutting?
Well, they're cutting the grass.
But look at it.
Oh.
I will say if Hippodrome, Hippodrome is finished and Don used to walk over. Celia, I know you're over there. If that's an indication of where we're headed, I have less concerns because it looks amazing and it's been redone.
It's a slow process.
Well,
Can I say
Right.
something?
Yeah.
Right, so
He can't, but no, he's not public, he's a vendor.
I look for what I'm supposed to do. My job is I'm supposed to show up there and it says, okay, 5 shillings died. I'm gonna put an estimate in, take a picture and say, hey, Jacob, we need 5 shillings. Not that the park is failing as a whole and I'm supposed to redesign. That's not what I'm supposed to do. That's what you guys have an architect for now, a landscape architect. He's gonna charge you for a Long Meadow Park, probably $15,000 for a design that I'm gonna give you for free. But you got a landscape architect now to do these designs. So am I supposed to still design a park for free?
You're not, Brian. Brian, it's okay. You're all right, man. You really are. We're good with that. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you all for coming. We have an executive session we need to go into to discuss some personnel matters. Thank you so much.